I don't know if you listen to Friends Against Government, but whenever when they start, like when they're recording or when their podcast goes, right when they go in, it's just like you're in the middle of the conversation now, like, oh, what we got talking about the beginning of part, and don't worry about it. right in the middle of it.
So, I like that. There's no respect for the audience. You just expect them to keep up or catch up. So
yeah, I know. Speaking of catching up, this is episode 99 of What's Happening.
Woo.
And I'm Shaine, and I have Clint with me. You were here just 5 episodes ago. I mean, why do you keep coming back? Really? You're back so soon? Jeez.
I don't know why you're allowing me to hold you hostage and get me back on so quickly, but I appreciate it.
Well, it's like that that saying goes, don't California my Texas. You're Californiaing this podcast.
It's true.
So.
It's true. But I am more freedom-minded than most Texans. So,
I mean, that is kind of sad when you think about it. I mean,
it's true though. It's purple now. So,
oh man, it's really close. It's just like this all presidential election. We're like, oh my gosh, like how. Because it was really close with like Joe Biden and Donald Trump for a while there. We're just like, wow. Because like just recently too with Ted Cruz and Beto O'Rourke. Beto O'Rourke was like a fingernail's length away of winning that thing. And oh boy, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Ted Cruz, but I think I'd probably rather have Cruz than Beto O'Rourke. I mean, come on.
It's tough for me to ever advocate on behalf of Ted Cruz just because of that face, but it's true though. He is definitely more freedom oriented than whoever. I mean, Beto is like gun grabber extraordinaire.
Yeah, he just flat out say, "Yeah, hell yeah, we're gonna take your guns." I mean, I give him respect for just saying it, not just trying to be pussyfooted and be all politic or whatever.
Yeah, me too. I appreciate the people that actually tell you what they feel, even if it's something that would make me want to go completely nuts on you for it. So respect Beto, you pussy.
Yeah. and for those watching, I am drinking a beer, and that to some that's like, wow, you're drinking again? Yes, I am drinking again because 2020 has been an absolute bitch. So in some cases, some of the other cases and some of the other aspects of my life has been absolutely incredible. But in terms of just all the COVID stuff and the lockdowns and everything like that, it's been driving me to alcoholism. So here's to you.
Cheers, brother. I'm back on the there we go. The nicotine lozenges. So I feel you.
Yeah. And so I was gonna mention this when we're talking about Texas. What was his name? I think it was like Tony Gonzalez or something like that.
Oh yeah.
He was like, because I think like Tulsi and Thomas Massey, and I know there's someone else I'm forgetting. Mm-hmm. They're trying to push Donald Trump to pardon Assange and Snowden. And so this guy, a Republican, is like, I don't think so. It's not a good idea. Don't do that. And everyone's been hounding on him like, really, dude? Come on. Like, this is one of the few areas that I know where Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Progressive, they're all like, yes, we need to pardon these guys, and of course Ross Ulbricht should be in there too. And I know there's other people that should be pardoned as well.
Yeah, reality winner as well. Yeah, basically anyone. Chelsea Manning, even though I think she's out now, but
I think so. Yeah.
Anyone that was imprisoned or threatened with imprisonment for revealing secrets about the deep state, for sure the Libertarians in unison should be screaming it from the mountaintop. I think the Democrats to a large extent are, even though they're probably losing some of that fire because basically the CNNs, MSNBCs of the world are basically ran by the deep state now, so they're kind of running cover. But yeah, I agree. I told him he should resign. I'm like, I have no patience for any Republicans that are still touting and he used Russia as the reason too. He's like, this is what Russia would want. It's like, man, I can't respect anybody like that. And I think he's a new guy, so I hope he gets kicked out. Yeah, I think he just got voted in, I believe. And speaking of the whole Russia, that's another, because also there's that thing where I think it's like the Trump administration, they're trying to pull troops out or something like that. And, that's always the case. Well, if you pull them out, then Russia's just going to come flying in. And, it's like, why? Why would they fly in? What's the point? Like, maybe I don't see it. I don't know. Well, even if they were to, and I mean, there is always geopolitical, positioning reasons that someone might do something, but
Of course.
ultimately we can't stay there forever. So, I mean, we can, but we can bankrupt ourselves while doing it. So my opinion is, like, regardless of what the fallout is, it's not an argument to not pull the troops out. Like, you can't, you've been there for fucking 15, 16, 18 years, whatever it is, in Afghanistan, Syria. We've been there for, I mean, arguably almost a decade. So I don't know. What does victory look like? At this point, they don't even bother to pretend like we have an idea of what victory might be. So,
well, no, we've already accomplished the mission. Remember that time when George Bush was on the ship and they had mission accomplished behind him?
I think that was 2005. Like, so long ago.
Yeah. So, okay, if that's mission accomplished, then what's the point of still being there? I don't know. I guess that's not how mission accomplished works or something. I don't know. Maybe they changed the rules or something.
Yeah. Well, it definitely doesn't feel accomplished to me.
Yeah. And also Somalia was another one too that kind of was in the news where I think it was like 700 troops or something. And people were like, wait, we have troops in Somalia? It's like, yeah, we have troops in Somalia. Like,
I made a joke that the left had to both, feign discontent and realize that we have troops in Somalia all at the same time. Like, they had to be like, we're against pulling these troops out of this country that we didn't know there were troops in. Like, that's the new leftist mantra, given that they've completely abandoned their anti-war principles. I am so discontented with the left. It pains me. Like, the one thing that I could rely on them for throughout my younger life was to be against the wars, and now they could care less. It's crazy.
Yeah, especially with Joe Biden and some of the people that he's been picking in his cabinet. It's just, I guess we're just going back to the Bush, Obama, Clinton years. All right, this is great. And I mean, I did tweet that one thing that was a little controversial when I said that Donald Trump was more pro-war than Barack Obama. But that was a little trolling on my part. Some people took me seriously, which was kind of funny.
For like 2 hours, you were just going in on like the hardest troll stuff.
Yeah. I'm just like, why not? Let's just do something. I don't know. I'm kind of bored. Let's go ahead and just see what. And that stuck because I was like tweeting out like left and right just stuff about Trump, and I was like, this is probably going to stick, and then lo and behold. But I mean, there is kind of an argument for that because I mean, Trump also had some people in his cabinet too, because everyone's like, well, his instincts tell him that, we shouldn't be in these wars. No, I mean, he said in the campaign trail that, these wars are stupid, and especially to Jeb Bush's face, your brother led us into war and all that stuff. But then he would be appointing all these people that are about as pro-war as you can possibly get. Right. So it's like, maybe his instincts are right, but maybe he's just a buffoon. He's an idiot. He doesn't really know anything, which, I mean, that's a huge, strong case. You can definitely say that about him. I mean,
no, it's very, very possible that's the case. I tend to believe that's what it was, is that Trump, for the most part, is not against starting new wars. He likes to bluff and bluster and talk shit, but ultimately, I don't think he wants to put soldiers in harm's way, which was, in my opinion, the greatest strength of his presidency, is that he was not. I mean, he was antagonistic verbally, but in action, he was not. So, I mean, the bar's so low that was a win as far as I was concerned. But I mean, my personal opinion is that his entire exposure. This is how little of a reader this guy is. His entire exposure to military tacticians was Fox News contributors. So he's like, John Bolton is on, Sean Hannity all the time. I'll make him my Secretary of Defense. It's such a terrible explanation, but I honestly believe that's what happened.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what it was. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it really is sad but then at the same time, it kind of makes you just laugh because you're just thinking, okay, well, if this guy can be president, well, shit, anybody can be president, And
with charisma, anything's possible.
Yeah, charisma, grabbing him by the whatever. It's something that I've been thinking about too, and I kind of want to know what you think about it. Is that so? One of the big things that's been happening is all this voter fraud, quote unquote, wherever you are in that whole thing or whatever. Him and his team are trying to present evidence, whatever. And I mean, there's not a lot of time. They don't have a lot of time. January 20th is right around the corner. It's just like, so is this going to happen or not? I mean, I don't think anything's going to really come of it, but I think there's definitely something where you can say, yeah, there were some weird shenanigans that were happening. Mm-hmm. And so, okay, so Donald Trump gets elected, right, in 2016, and hardly anybody saw it coming except for maybe Ann Coulter. And everybody was just like, I can't believe that this guy won. And of course, everyone was like, well, the popular vote, he didn't win the popular vote, but he won the Electoral College. And so what was the thing they were pushing throughout for when he won, even before that, to pretty much his entire presidency, was that, well, Russia colluded in our election. And that's the reason why he won, because of all this like Facebook ads or some dumb other bullshit they were trying to push.
Yep.
And so they're pushing that. And then Ukraine was also in there as well for a little while. And now with the election, it really doesn't, it wouldn't even surprise me if the DNC or the Democrats or anyone who's anti-Trump was just, okay, we're going to have to all sixes, we're going to have to do something, like a royal flush type of thing where this is it. Like, we can't have a second term of this guy. So they're probably going to do something, right?
Oh yeah.
But also not just for Donald Trump, they're going, and this goes for the corporate press too, Fox News included. They're going to do their absolute damnedest for something like this to never happen again. They don't ever want someone like a Donald Trump to ever come in. Like, because I kind of made a tweet too where, well, I mean, Steve Bannon could run in 2024. He's considered an outsider, but I don't know if he has the support of a Trump. I don't think so, but just someone like that. And right. So they want a Joe Biden. They want that's why they're trying to push like Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton, because they just want those people that are in that circle, know.
They want someone who will play ball. Yeah.
Right. And so I don't think there isn't some, I mean, I don't know if it's a conspiracy, but it wouldn't surprise me if something did happen. But I don't know if it's not enough to overturn the election. But okay, Donald Trump, you get another 4 years, whatever, because they're just not going to let that happen. You know?
It would demonstrate so definitively that our system was bullshit that they can't allow that. Like, right. Even if it's true, they can't allow it. So that my opinion is that there was likely significant voter fraud. The only way that they could have actually stolen the election, in my view, is if the Dominion voting software was actually hackable. And I haven't seen evidence that that's the case. So I'm going to reserve judgment as to whether or not that's actually what occurred. I think that there's a compelling argument to be made that perhaps that's what occurred because of all those vote dumps in the middle of the night that has all the telltale signs of basically manipulation. But can you prove it? I don't know. And like you were saying, like I'm saying, even if they can prove it, I don't think that the courts will do that unless that is their intent, is to create a civil war. Because I think the only way the civil war goes hot is if Trump is reinstalled through the judicial system, because the left would absolutely go fucking crazy. And I don't even know if I want that, honestly. Like, I feel like there's an economic collapse that's coming, and I personally would rather someone who believes in the Green New Deal and socialism to preside over that economic collapse, because hopefully then capitalism, which even though Trump isn't really a capitalist, I don't want capitalism to get even more of a black eye. So we'll see. I don't have a really strong opinion as to whether or not there was fraud, other than that it has all the telltale signs of it. It appears as if it was likely, but I can't say definitively. So I kind of just I stay in the gray zone on that one.
Yeah, and I kind of have that same feeling, because there would have to be something catastrophic where they could 100% without a doubt prove that, Donald Trump had this many votes and it flipped to Joe Biden or whatever.
Right.
And, I was thinking about this too. And I mean, this might be controversial or whatever, so I'm just going to put it out there. But this whole thing, it just makes me go, I don't know if I want more people to be voting, because look how many people voted this time. And how long did it take them to count the votes or to at least let them know, oh yeah, there's this many precincts counted or anything like that. And now we still have millions of votes. I'm like, oh my gosh, can we just know today? Like, let's just know today, So, and so I was thinking, like, again, controversial or not, I don't know. But I was like, we have a test that, the society that we're living in. We have a test that, when you have to get a driver's license, you have to take a test. Maybe you should take a test before you fucking vote, to at least know what the fuck you're voting on.
I don't disagree. The only problem is the test writer would be the government. And if that's the case, that's the problem. Otherwise, if I could write the test, if you could write the test, if any libertarian could write that test, I would be 100% on board. I'd be like, please explain, modern monetary theory in conjunction with, Austrian economic outlook. And I'd be like, oh, this is an amazing test. Like, if you can't answer this correctly, you can't vote. But no, as it stands today, I agree. 150 million people voted and they got it wrong. I mean, not that Trump was like the right answer, but Biden was definitely the wrong answer. And I don't know how anybody who's been alive for the past 20 years could be like, oh, we have all these issues that's going on in the country. Joe Biden will fix it. Like, my God.
Yeah. Well, how long has he been in politics now? Like 1,000 years, and
longer than I've been alive. And that's
and
disturbing.
Yeah. And I mean, that was a good point about the state writing the test, whatever, but it's just funny that, because if you asked anyone who voted for Joe Biden, I would probably bet at least half of those people will say, well, they voted for Joe Biden because he wasn't Donald Trump. I mean, it's like, come on, really? That's not a good reason to vote for someone. Just don't vote then. Like, if you didn't like either, then why you got to vote? Because there was bumper stickers, like legit bumper stickers that said, fine Biden, but this is bullshit.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy that bumper sticker, and you don't have to vote for Joe Biden. No one's forcing you. Not yet.
Exactly. When Kamala's president, you'll be forced to vote. No, that's exactly my perspective, and probably yours as well. I don't know how you voted, but ultimately, like, even though I think that Joe Biden and the leftist push in this country is an existential risk to our freedom, I still couldn't vote for Trump because he was so much of a budgetary disaster, and he also didn't stand up against the lockdowns voicefully enough that I was like, those are the two things I care about. And I mean, the war thing is, the biggest, and he was decent there, but he didn't really end anything. So it was like, it was marginal, it was close, but ultimately I don't want Trump to be the ruler over me either. So in the coin flip decision, I was like, I just threw away the coin. I was like, I'm not going there. I voted for Jo Jorgensen, even though I don't like her either. But it was just about sending a message. I want a third option that's viable. I don't want to continue to play this game with these two fucking tyrants. I don't want to do it anymore. And I don't respect people that vote for the lesser of two evils. I know that there's a ton of listeners out there, maybe even you, that voted for Trump. And I was close, believe me. I was very close. As close as I've ever been in my life to voting for a Republican. I was that close. But ultimately, like, we have to break the system. We just have to. And if we don't do that, you can't expect things to get better. I really feel that in my bones. So even though Jorgensen was crap, it was more a vote for, third party. And she wasn't crap, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, I was just going for vote for Kanye West. I just want to,
I was close to that too.
I just want to know what his theme song was when he walks into the Oval Office, and like music blaring out of the White House, Heartbreak and 808s or whatever. It's like, oh man, Kanye West is fucking booming in the White House. This is great.
Inwards in Paris would have been the best thing that's ever happened. Like when he goes to like the UN Council or something, and he, oh my God, please for the love of God.
Instead of "Hail to the Chief," he brings out "Stronger" or something like that. Bring out the greatest hits. I see.
I am a unabashed Kanye fan. Like, I genuinely believe the guy's a genius. He's also crazy, but most geniuses are. And I love him. I think he would have been probably a disaster as a president, but I would have, if he had a chance in hell, I would have absolutely voted for him too. So whatever. Unironically.
Yeah, I think if he runs as a Republican, yeah, for sure a Republican, because I mean, if Joe Biden's going to be in, it'd be 2024. Well, probably Kamala Harris would be in. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, so yeah, if Kanye West ran as a Republican, he would definitely have a bigger chance. I mean, maybe as a libertarian, I mean, obviously he would be the biggest name, I think. But
that would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. But then I was also thinking, this would be hilarious if in 2024 Donald Trump ran as in the Libertarian Party nominee. Like, that'd be hilarious.
Was it you that posted about that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you really got me thinking, because I was like, if the RNC actually turns against him, and he just wants to blow up the system, like, he could probably win the presidency as a Libertarian if he were to run. Because if he were to like really go in on some of the populist stuff that the right likes and maintain that push, the anti-China push, the anti-globalist push, but then also double down on like ending the wars, ending the Fed, like, he would get all. I mean, I would vote for him if he were to actually go that path. So, and he wasn't. It's not like he was far from winning. So, I don't know. That would be super interesting. God, I would love that. But we'll see. I think he's probably going to run as a Republican.
Yeah.
And I think I think he'll probably win, actually, if he's still alive. We'll see.
Yeah, that is true. If he's still alive, that is definitely true with his diet. I don't know.
He's not the model of health, but he kicked COVID's ass, so you never know. He might be alive forever.
That's so funny. He kicks COVID's ass. Chris Christie, who's probably fatter than him, also kicks ass. And it's okay. So if these two fat asses can kick ass, oh no,
I'm feeling pretty good about my chances.
Yeah.
I think it was Dave Smith that tweeted out. He's like, if Chris Christie can beat this, I think we can all agree that this is not a big deal anymore.
I think we can at least keep our one eye open. Like, I don't know. I think we're playing ourselves here.
Yeah, Chris Christie's like twice as out of shape as Donald Trump. So, I think I'll be all right. Have you? Curious. Have you heard anybody, or have you known anybody who's died from it?
No, I don't believe so. No.
Okay.
I don't think so, at least.
Because like I don't either, and I know I've seen people run polls online, and it's like 95% of people don't know anybody. Yeah. It's like, that's 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon it, and you don't even know anybody. Like, I don't know anybody, so I just think it's interesting. I'm not saying that it's fake or that it doesn't exist. It's just clear to me that it's extremely overstated in terms of the risk to us.
Oh, I think. She's probably gonna have to. She's gonna have to correct me on this.
Sure.
I think Nico. I think someone in her family, like a distant relative. I think.
Okay.
But I don't.
Well, let me just clarify. If it's a serious pandemic, it should not be this hard to find someone here that has known someone who has died from it. It's just amazing to me, given how relatively benign this virus is. And it is relatively benign, because otherwise both of us would know someone for sure. I just think it's amazing that people have reacted so strongly, and they've bought the propaganda lie so deeply that they're willing to sacrifice years of their lives. I mean, we're already pushing, like, what is it, 9 months now? And Fauci's saying we're going to have to mask up and social distance even after the vaccine, and people are like, yeah, cool, fine. I don't need to see people ever again. I just can't believe that people don't have a limit to this, where their mental health isn't suffering so badly that they want to push back aggressively. It's weird.
Yeah, and also all the protocols and the rules that the governors and just the state in general have been kind of putting on the people. Mm-hmm. And then you see stories about who, like that Denver mayor, he traveled to his, to go to see his family or whatever. And it's just like, motherfucker, like, come on, really? Like, at least
so many politicians did the exact same thing.
Yeah. And also like there was something about Andrew Cuomo. Okay. So I actually did want to bring this up now that I mentioned it. So this whole thing is just so dumb. And I'm sure you saw this too, but I just want to bring this up. So like, I did say that Andrew Cuomo has just been like this poster boy, apparently, to the corporate press and the media in general about, his response to COVID has been amazing. And apparently he wrote a book or something about that, talking about how awesome he is, jerking himself off and saying all that good stuff.
He wrote it a month ago when like the pandemic's far from over too. It's incredible.
Yeah. And so just to kind of put like a cherry on top of the whole thing, he's supposed to be getting an Emmy.
Yep.
And yeah, okay. So in this is from an international Emmy. So I don't even know how big that is or whatever. But it's okay. So it's the International Emmy Founders Award. And so he's getting it in recognition of his leadership during the COVID-19 pandemic and his masterful use of television to inform and calm people around the world.
And divide us and dominate over us. Yeah, I mean, I guess he deserves an award for acting this out well enough that people are willing to overlook the, tens of thousands of deaths that he was presiding over.
I mean, you might as well give an Emmy to every single governor who did all these lockdowns,
Exactly.
Just give him an Emmy to all of them, so yeah.
They're giving it to him for the press conferences that he held daily, kind of like Trump did the same bullshit in the first few months. If you remember, he was doing these pressers constantly, and the media was just like, can he shut the fuck up? Just please shut the fuck up. And that's I think from the libertarian perspective, we feel the same way about Cuomo. It's just like, please shut up, bro. Like, you have nothing valuable to say. He's a tyrant. He screams at the reporters. He says, I posted this clip yesterday where it was like, he's basically mocking the reporter's question. He's like, oh, what are you going to do? We already did it. It's the law. And he screams it at the reporter. And I'm just like, God, this is the guy. This is the guy that you believe in. But tyranny on the left is more than accepted, I guess.
Yeah, and he voted, or he got voted in. What is like his third term as governor or something like that?
Yeah, he'll be there forever. He'll probably be president because that's exactly what I need in my life.
Yeah, probably like 2024 or 2028. Yeah. Ugh. God, this thing about that makes me want to puke.
It does.
God, man. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So, okay. Andrew Cuomo, right. He's getting all the praise and all that. And I think he also got nominated for like Person of the Year from Time Magazine or something. I'm like, come on, really?
Along with Fauci and AOC.
Oh, yes. Speaking of Fauci, that asshole was praising Donald Trump in the early goings of the COVID. He's, oh man, he's been reacting great. He's been doing an amazing job. But then again, I guess he got a lot of pushback and say, hey, you can't be praising that guy. Come on.
Well, the funny thing is that Trump was actually doing pretty much everything Fauci told him to do for the first 2 or 3 months.
Exactly.
And that was when I hated him the most. That was when I wanted Trump out of office desperately. Yeah. And then as soon as he started to go like, okay, this is lasting a lot longer than you had originally told me. Right. And the deaths aren't nearly as bad. And I think Trump had the same realization most people did, is that like, he was being misled to some extent, and that's how he is. He's not a reader. He's not a deep thinker. He's just a gut instinct guy. Yeah. And I think he sensed after a while that some of this was bullshit. And it's just funny. It's just funny to see the infighting where it's like one day Fauci is praising every single thing Trump has to say or do. And then, 6 months later, he didn't do anything I told him to do. And he's terrible. They're just such frauds.
Kind of makes you wonder how he became the guy he is now, if that's how he's going to be as president. I mean, maybe his instincts were just right, like bam, 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 getting, A. But now maybe as president, he's just getting Fs and Fs. And I was like, dude, maybe you're just getting older and your mental capacity is getting bad, because that's kind of what happens when you get older. But I mean, at least you're not Joe Biden, where you don't even, like, you think you're running for Senate or something. You're
constantly, yeah, and you forget everyone's names. Yeah, I think I personally think that Trump has succeeded based off of his instincts throughout his career. And honestly, as a private businessman, you don't have, thousands of people working against you, if not millions of people working against you, if you include the media and everybody else. I just think that honestly, if you're attacked by the entire cathedral apparatus, it's extremely difficult to imagine a successful presidency. Like I think Ron Paul obviously would have been better, but I think that he would have been attacked mercilessly in the same fashion and been prevented from, actually accomplishing 95% of his goals. So I think it's just, that's the sickness of the system, is that like, if you're an outsider, which I believe Trump genuinely was, he was not supposed to be in there. Yeah. I think that the cathedral's power structure is so well entrenched that it's really genuinely, maybe even impossible to be successful in that position unless you're one of the chosen people. And I know that's depressing, but it's honestly what I think. So
no, I mean, that's definitely a good way of looking at it, because, obviously now that he's has a record as a president, and you kind of have to look at it that way. I mean, the only thing I can really think of, at least for me personally, that anything under his presidency, I don't know if it was him directly, but I would say under his presidency, anything that happened that was good was getting rid of the individual mandate for that stupid healthcare bullshit from Obamacare. Other than that, I mean, like I can't.
Tax cut.
That's right. Yeah, that too, and kind of lowering the tax brackets. Yeah, But then and it's funny too. There was a thing that there were some people that were saying that. I think even Bill Maher even mentioned this too, where he was saying, it's weird that Joe Biden won in a lot of the areas where it was rich people. Like rich people were voting for Biden, and a lot of the not so rich people were voting for Trump. He's like, what? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like because I think I was watching that thing where Dave Smith was playing a video on his
the clips,
yeah, and I was thinking about that too, thinking like, wow, that is kind of an interesting point to kind of look at that. Especially coming from like someone like Bill Maher, who just, he's in that Hollywood. He's a rich, he's about as rich as you can possibly be, I would think, right? At least he's up there. Yeah. And he's like, why are people, I've been told this whole time that, rich people are Republicans and the poor are Democrats, but apparently it's not like that. There's a lot of gray areas.
Yeah.
And then the people on the panel were like, it's just white supremacy. Fuck, don't worry about it. It's like, bitch.
Yeah. Well, what's hilarious to me is that he himself disproves his thesis. He says that only the rich, evil corporatists are supposed to be voting for the Republicans. Right. It's like you're the rich, evil corporatist, and you voted for Biden, and you advocated for Biden the entire 4 years. So, like, I just think that they're so disconnected. And it's funny because he tours, like this guy, he's a stand-up comic. He actually goes out and he has to interact to some extent with regular people in middle America. And he still is so disconnected. I think it's just a product of his audience. His audience is going to be the psycho leftist that comes out to see him because obviously he hasn't interacted with many actual Trump supporters because most of them are not interested in handouts, whether they're poor or not. They're interested in freedom. And until the left realizes that, they have no chance of like actually reaching those people. And as far as I'm concerned, that's a good thing. I don't want them to reach those people because I do. If they were to reach them by offering them what they want, which is freedom, then great. But as I'm sure you would imagine, it would just be pandering and it wouldn't actually be any sort of steps in the direction of freedom. So it's probably best that they don't understand what they're doing wrong. And we just continue down this path.
That would be a good documentary. Bill Maher going to middle America and just talking to Trump supporters. He did that religious documentary. So you might as well do one. I'm going to talk to some Trump supporters. Trump's not president anymore, so who gives a shit? And then he goes down to Kansas and talks to some Trump supporters. He's like, wow, a light bulb went off in my head. Like, maybe these people aren't so stupid like I always thought. Huh.
I know. It's funny because the end of that show, actually, he was talking about, coming back together and unity and all this shit. But he's been one of the leading voices in demonizing and, downplaying the intelligence of anyone who supported Trump. He's as responsible for the division as any, comic that's out there for sure because of his show. And the left as a whole genuinely despises anyone that would vote for Trump. And I think as long as that's the case, the Trump supporter has no reason to forgive them. They have no reason to forgive and forget being called a racist and a fascist and a bigot and a homophobe and everything else that they're probably not for the past 4 years. And it's just amazing. Like as soon as they have power, though, it's now it's time to unify. Forget all the shit that we talked about you forever, and come and do our bidding. It's pathetic. By the way, do you guys watch Real Time every week, or is it just from when Dave covers?
Yeah, I generally don't watch too much other than when he talks about it because I don't know. This is really.
It's a god awful show, but the reason I was asking is because I was wondering if you guys hate watch it like I do. I've been watching it for I don't even know 20 years now, and it actually started out pretty good, but I literally watch it because it gives me a really good feel for the pulse of the left. Like they because these are the intelligentsia. Like all of his guests are reporters and political pundits and politicians, but they're almost entirely leftists, and as well as Bill, and his audience is psychotically leftist. So you get a really good feel for the enemy class as I call them. It's very interesting to watch, though. You really give it a shot sometime. It'll open your eyes to what we're up against, and it's daunting.
So another thing that I want to bring up to you is kind of going with the COVID topic and all that stuff. It's interesting that this is one of the things that's happened throughout this whole thing. Mm-hmm. So let me get to it, and because I'm trying to find something else. I just remembered something else. I was trying to find it, but I'll look for it later here. Oh crap! Where did it go?
Take your time.
Wow, this is gonna be great. Oh, wait.
Follow me at Liberty Lockpod on Twitter. Liberty Lockdown Podcast.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that works. It's funny because I had this tweet up and now I can't find it. I don't know where it went. Wow, this is great.
This has been deleted. What was the broad premise?
Okay, so the broad premise of it is that gun sales have been gone way up with COVID.
Oh yeah.
And so okay, I'll just read it off. I had it and I can't find it, but I finally just found it. But I'll go ahead and just read it. So okay, so it says during the coronavirus pandemic, we've seen a shocking surge in the number of gun sales. So far in 2020, the FBI has recorded over 16.6 million firearm-related background checks compared to just 9.6 million in the same period last year. That's a 73% increase. Yeah, I wonder why.
It's so funny to me. I've bought 3 guns for my family alone. My mom, my brother, myself. So yeah, if you can't figure out why when the government locked down the economy and everyone rioted for 6 months that people were like, I need a fucking gun. Where do you live? How do you not feel the need to go get one yourself? It's crazy to me.
Yeah, and especially if you're, staying at home and you don't really know what's going to happen next, and you have to kind of wait for your governor or mayor or whoever to kind of give you permission to go do, what you got to do.
Yep.
Like I guess for some people, the main thing you're going to have to do is you're just going to protect yourself and all that. 'Cause it's like, well, what else are you going to do? Like, you can't go out hardly. You can't go out in a restaurant unless you want to sit outside. I mean, some states are like that. Like, I'm pretty sure California is like that. You have to sit outside and all that stuff. And
now they closed it down. But yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say that because I thought, wait, I think they changed that. It's like,
yep.
So okay. So if you can't eat, you can't eat inside, but you can't eat outside. So where the fuck do you eat? Like, you just take it out. I guess you could take it out, but you can't eat outside. So you got to put it back in your.
That's it. You have to get a delivery or carry out. And they were still harassing people that were offering carry out only if they had like a chair to sit in to wait to get their carry out order like that. I mean, it's nuts, man. And I really think that like we're on the cusp of some people who have lost everything.
Yeah. Going
postal. Like I really believe it. I can't imagine. I'm stunned it hasn't happened already. But I just think that they're like they are testing the limits of what people can possibly handle, and you're going to pay a price at some point. And I don't want to see that. Like I'm really not interested in it. But at the same time, like I want to see this shit end. So in some regards, like I would understand. I don't know how to put it.
Yeah, I mean, I heard too like Pete Quinones was talking about on his podcast, and I'm sure just when he tweets and all that, but. It's just that this whole thing has changed the culture completely. Like you see everybody with masks and everything like that. It's funny too. And I know we've mentioned this countless times before on the show, but it's like Nico and I wore masks during the beginning. And now it's like the period where we're like, why are you wearing a mask? Wait, stupid. Like, everyone was looking at us like we're aliens or something.
I was the same way.
Yeah. And now it's like the complete opposite. Now if you don't wear a mask, everyone's thinking like, you just like murdered someone or something like that, and yeah, that whole thing is just crazy to me. But it happened pretty fast. It wasn't just from February to like October. So it happened within like a month or two where masks became this thing, because I do remember the Surgeon General back, I think like February or something like that, was saying, please stop buying masks. Like we need them for the hospitals and all that stuff. Cause that whole thing about the The hospital beds being overflowing.
Early April, Fauci said it. Fauci said there's no reason to be wearing a mask.
Oh, yeah, that is right. Yeah, he did say that, didn't he?
And then a month later, if you didn't wear one, you wanted everyone to die. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Well, to kind of, I guess, play devil's advocate, I think the main argument they were going with in terms of why it switched so fast was because, well, we didn't really know a whole lot about this virus and everything like that. So when we found out new information, we're like, okay, now you need to wear a mask. But at the time, we didn't think that masks were that important or really that needed. But
hold on. I would agree, but Fauci admitted that he basically lied because they needed the PPE for the first responders. So he lied to the general population because he couldn't have what we were doing with toilet paper at the time, where we were going out and buying up everything in mass.
Yeah.
And he admitted it. He admitted like 4 or 5 months later, he was like, yeah, we had to focus on PPE for first responders and medical providers. And I was like, wow, that's like, if you're gonna have that role of being the number one advisor during a pandemic, and you're going to lie to us openly, how can we possibly respect anything you have to say for the remainder of your whatever term? I don't even know what his title is, but anyways, yes, I agree. Obviously, yes, the science was changing, and there's a lot of people that were involved that weren't lying. I think Fauci was actually directly lying.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, I don't know. They're really putting him on a pedestal, and I think he's kind of just getting high off of his everyone's paying attention to me. This is awesome.
I think that's how all epidemiologists feel right now. They're like no one even knew what the fuck I did, 7 months ago, and now everyone's like asking me my opinion on everything. I think it does. I guess
it kind of went to some people's heads. If you're getting all this attention that you hadn't been getting before, like, wow, that's pretty cool. People really respect my opinion and everything like that.
Of course.
And another thing too about that is, that's another argument is like, well, listen to the science, and you gotta follow the guidelines or whatever like that. And it's like, okay, well, I saw some other scientists kind of being questioned. They're kind of questioning, it's like what Tom Woods has been saying, kind of all these other epidemiologists or at least scientists in general, kind of questioning all the numbers and it's really how dangerous it is. Well, you're not allowed to listen to this. It's like the people,
not those.
Yeah, right, exactly, not those type of scientists or whatever. And it's the same thing with like the climate change. Like there are climate change denialists, but not like the crazy, like legit, like they're legit in that field, and they go, well, I mean, it's not as bad as people are saying it, in our field. And it's like, well, you can't. No, you're not allowed. So,
yeah, I mean that's the whole lesson that I've taken away from this is that it's not about the science, it's about the narrative. And if you're a scientist that supports the narrative, then it's okay. And what science narrative gets support from the entire cathedral? The one that grows the government and removes freedom. Like every time, if you believe that climate change is real, but if you're a scientist that believes that, but you believe that innovation and capitalism is the answer, you're not part of the team. If you believe that government is the answer, that's the right answer. Then we'll give you a platform to talk. And it's the exact same thing with COVID. If you think that government mandates are unnecessary to remedy what we're dealing with, you're not part of the team. If you believe that that the government could keep you in your house eternally, and if you don't do it, that you're a selfish piece of shit, then you're part of the team. It's exhausting to watch. I can't believe that people are still buying this narrative. You can actually go out on the internet, find your own information, and see definitively that like mask use is not diminishing the arc of cases nor deaths. Like it's just simply not happening. And yet it doesn't matter. People just simply don't care. And all you have to, like, this is what I won over some of my relatives with during Thanksgiving. I said, the only thing I had to know that the mask stuff was bullshit was that they had no criteria on what constituted a valid mask. I could fucking lift my shirt up over my face and we were good to go. Yeah. If you think that's adequate to diminish a virus, you're out of your mind. And we have N95 masks, and then you have people with bandanas.
Yeah,
like you should have known right away that it was bullshit. But some people still think that that's good enough. You can have a hanky over your nose and you're good to go.
I mean, some people would probably mistake you if you put like your shirt over your nose. Where someone like took a shit or fart or something.
Or is he just a low budget robber? Yeah.
It's funny that you were kind of talking about the growing the government and everything like that. It's like, like when 9/11 happened, and then like the airport security like really got upgraded, but like increased or everything like that. And you still got to take your shoes off. Is what 2020 now. You still got to take your shoes off. Still got to do all this other stuff. You still got to do that.
Yep. Forever.
Yeah. So. Who knows? Maybe in 2025 we still got to be wearing masks to go inside a business. You have to have a signed document to say that you got your COVID test. And you're a negative. So
yeah, I think it's going to be some sort of documentation for vaccinations like that. I know that goes down the Alex Jones path, but I really think that's what's coming. There's already been lots of large corporations that have come out and said it, particularly airlines. They're saying that they will mandate that you have a COVID vaccination before you can fly internationally. Yeah. I'm just like, man, this is getting dark. I mean, especially if the corporations are going to do the bidding of the government, which is essentially what we've seen with YouTube, Twitter, whatnot, where they're willing to censor things that the government doesn't like. It gets dark really fast. Yeah, and that's the libertarians' problem right there. Is we need to find some way to combat the censorship and the loss of freedom that comes from private business, because we tend to turn a blind eye to it. And if we're not willing to use our feet and actually change platforms to punish these businesses, we're going to have to come up with some other way. I don't know if it's shame. I don't know if it's becoming SJWs for freedom. I don't know what it is, but we have to do something.
Well, I mean, corporations are definitely banking. They're selling their own masks, like that. I mean, you're talking about international travel, man. Tourism, I would think, would take a massive hit, right?
It's like dead, dude. It's so fucked up. Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know. Any country that's seen their tourist numbers go down and seen them, I don't know. Maybe after a little while, they're like, I don't know. Maybe we should start letting people come travel again because we are losing money. Like, we need that money now.
Dude, I agree. It's really weird to me that I think it's just an obvious sign that we had more savings, we had more entertainment in America. But when you look across Europe, like even the French are now going.
Oh yeah, they are going ape shit on. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's tremendous. I mean, it's extremely hopeful because they're extremely left-leaning population, but they're burning down their central bank. I'm like, shit, why aren't we? Like, how are the French beating us at this protest stuff? But they are, and there's been riots across Europe, and Germany's same thing, and genuine anti-lockdown protests, not the Black Lives Matter stuff, which is fine. I'm definitely against police brutality too. But when we're all locked in our fucking houses, I think that we need to prioritize. Like, okay. Yes, we need cops to stop killing black people. I agree, and white people for the matter. But I'd also like us to be free again. So let's focus on that. And
that's the number one issue that's happening right now. At least in terms of just the broad, like everyone is talking about it. Everybody, not everybody. You know what I mean? But like, COVID-19 and the lockdowns that have been mandated by the government of pick a country. I mean, there have been a few countries that kind of been pretty lenient. What was it? What was the one country like Sweden or Norway or something like that?
Sweden, yeah.
Nobody's wearing masks.
Yeah, and they're already on the other side of it, by the way.
Yeah, but also, weren't they supposed to be some kind of like poster child and how you're supposed to react to it or something like that? Or like, this is the poster child of socialism or something. I don't even know what the fuck is happening.
Well, they are the poster child for socialism in terms of like some of their welfare programs.
Right.
But in terms of like capitalism is actually pretty strong there. And then they also obviously value personal freedom in a way that many countries don't. So, Sweden actually would have been a decent model for America, given that we also have a fairly deep social safety net. And it's just weird. It's weird that you can have that occurring simultaneously and people just dismiss it out of hand. They're just like, shut up. I don't want to hear about the place that didn't use masks and lockdowns and got to the other side of this faster than we did. I don't want to hear about it. Put on the mask. It's like, fuck. Look though.
So and let me know if you agree or not, but would you put some of that blame on Donald Trump then? Because I know he was like you're saying how he was reacting in the beginning, but then he's kind of being, because if he was just 100% like, we are not locking down, and no governor or any city or anything like if he did some kind of EO, I don't know what the right answer would be, but he just said, I don't want any lockdowns at all. I just want businesses. It's also funny too thinking about that, because George W. Bush kind of said the same thing. He was like, no, it's businesses. Everyone's go back to work, all that. So it kind of makes you wonder, like, okay, so that happened, and George W. Bush did that whole thing. Would just pretend like nothing's happening and just go back to normal and all that stuff. But then Donald Trump's doing the same thing. But then we're in this situation that we're in right now. So it kind of makes you go like, well, what would be, like, what would have been because if he did say, we're just like talking about right now that in the present, like if he did say no lockdowns whatsoever, and I mean, people are going to get it and some are going to die. I mean, that's the sad truth about it. Yeah. But that if he had done that, there would have been a definitive, okay, Joe Biden is the pro lockdown, right, mask mandate president, and Donald Trump is not. But Donald Trump wasn't that clear-cut guy, because he did so many maneuvering and all that stuff. It's just,
I think that's why he lost. I think that was the mistake.
That
he didn't. And honestly, though, and this will tie in perfectly to the topic that you said we were going to discuss with the LP and Dave Smith going to war with them over their stupid Thanksgiving tweet, where it's like,
it's another day for Dave is going after them going him going after the LP, and then everyone else, people who are pro LP, like, come on, shut up, Dave.
but he's right, as usual. He's right. I mean, he nails it. They're saying, just so we know, the Pilgrims were basically undocumented immigrants. What's your Thanksgiving tradition all about? Some benign nonsense.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, I get that you're talking about Thanksgiving and all that, but like, who are you talking to when you say that type of stuff? Like, you're talking to a small group of people that are like, yeah, that's right, Libertarian Party, but those people that you're talking to, Libertarian Party Twitter account person, people, whoever, they aren't going to vote for you. They're not. Like, I don't know how many times people need to tell you they are not going to vote. Anyone on the left, 99.9% of the time, are not going to vote for you, even when you say something they like. They aren't going to vote for you. They'll see the next person. Okay, I want to vote for that person. Or even better yet, they'll vote for a Green Party candidate because they're more in line with their candidate or they're more their policies, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So okay, who are you talking to when you say this type of stuff? And yeah, like you were going to say, and Dave was saying too, it's like, okay, you say all the stuff about Thanksgiving and indigenous people and all that stuff. It's like, but that's not the big issue we're talking. If Joe Jorgensen would have gotten like 5 million votes if she was like, no lockdowns, 100%. Like when Justin Amash was doing all his, when he was going on the news stations and all that stuff. And if Justin Amash was also doing that, like a clear no lockdown stance, he might have gotten the nomination. But instead he was just saying, we're third choice.
Yeah.
What? No one cares. A lot of people do not want a third choice. So when you say I want a third choice, well, you're only talking about maybe 10% of the people that, I want a third choice. Yeah. But the other 90% are going to be voting Republican or Democrat.
No, for sure. And that's been my point all along with this, is that there was no person out there that was running for the presidency that was voicefully anti-lockdown early on. Like, the Libertarian Party, you're trying to differentiate yourself. You're trying to set yourself apart from your competition in a way that gets people's attention. What better opportunity in our lifetimes has happened than having everyone get locked in their fucking house for eternity? Like, we don't even know when it ends. And the Libertarian Party, the party that believes in personal freedom and choice, doesn't come out voicefully against that right away. Like, how is that even possible? The Libertarian Party, that should have been a given. I've said this 1,000 times, but it's true. It should have been a given. It shouldn't have been a political calculation. It shouldn't have been about winning votes, but it would have won you votes. It would have won you millions of votes if you had come out early and loud that this is not what we do in America. Regardless of how afraid you are, we believe in freedom, period. And if they had done that, good God, what we could have done with it. I mean, I think we would have almost certainly got the 5%, marker that we've all been so crazy about to get the federal funding. But they failed. They failed terribly. And instead of using that opportunity, they saw the other opportunity, which was that there's police violence, which is also something libertarians are against. But then they framed it in a way that only appeals to people that won't vote for you again.
Right.
So it's like, God damn, you guys are just so it's unbelievable how bad they are at what they do. It really is. I mean, there has never been a better year for a libertarian candidate, and they ate shit. They just fell on their face, and I can't forgive them for that. I mean, Gary Johnson did better, for God's sakes. Like, what the hell?
He would have probably at least had some type of message. I don't know. I mean, I don't know 100%, but I mean, yeah, he probably would have been a little better for sure.
Oh no, sorry, I just meant Gary Johnson did better in 2016.
Oh, did that? Oh, I thought you meant like if he was a nominee in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, I believe me, I was no fan of his campaign or Weld particularly. I despise, but I'm just saying, they did worse than Gary Johnson, and more people turned out to vote, and they still did like half of what Gary Johnson did. It's just a disaster. And if the LP is still unwilling to listen to the Mises Caucus, the right-wing libertarians that are out there, do so at your own peril. We have the evidence on our side now that Nick Sarwark's plans to destroy this party are not working. I mean, they are working, but his plans, he thinks that they're good plans. So please consider listening to us for once in your fucking lives. Like, listen to what we're saying. You have opportunities to both diminish racism, which is all you appear to care about, which we also care about. Right. But you can do so while maintaining our principles. And that's all you have to do to not lose the base. And the base is a right-leaning one. Ron Paul demonstrated it definitively. And I don't know, man. I'm hopeless when it comes to the LP, but I think that the trajectory is changing. Angela McArdle and a handful of other people out there. Dave Smith, who's getting involved with the Mises Caucus. I really think they're going to take it over. And God willing, when they continue to lock us down next year, hopefully the LP will know how to message about it.
Yeah, Dave, he's been saying that, we're going to take over the party. So, I'm going to be looking at him like, all right, 2022, 2024. I mean,
I'm waiting, homie. Yeah.
It's going to happen. We'll see. You have a pretty big audience, so I'm sure some of the people will be going to the LP. It's funny too about speaking of the LP, just the namesake alone, Libertarian Party. If you see the Libertarian Party of Canada and their Twitter account, oh man, that's like the U.S. Libertarian Party should be more like the Canadian Libertarian Party in terms of.
Are they good? I've never even seen it.
They're better, at least the tweets I've seen. They're better than what I've seen from the LP USA. That's for sure.
That's awesome. I'm going to follow them. I mean.
Yeah, because one of the things they were talking about was small businesses closing down. They're like, yeah, this is very bad for small businesses.
Yeah.
Has the U.S. Libertarian Party been talking about small businesses?
Yeah, not enough. I mean, that's been my fight with Kurt the Libertarian on this topic for months. Is that he continued to support Joe, and I appreciate his reasoning. His reasoning was that it's a thankless job. It's like. You're gonna have people mad at you. You don't get anything from it. You're gonna lose. Like, he's right. He's right on all fronts. And also George Jorgensen was pretty good. Like, ideologically, principally, she was pretty good. Her campaign was shit, but she's pretty good. And so yeah, I mean, I understand his perspective. I just wanted to let him know that, like, if we're unwilling to course correct in real time, we're going to have these campaigns that flounder. Like, we need to be able to tell our candidate, who I still voted for, that you're fucking up and stop doing what you're doing. I can advise you. I can get you back on track as to the messaging that needs to happen right now. And we'll see. I think YAL, the Young Americans for Liberty, Maggie, all these people that are like killing it right now. Yeah. I think that there's a lot of hope. Unfortunately, almost all of that hope is not coming from the LP at this point. So it is what it is.
Well, yeah, as far as I know, Young Americans for Liberty are more kind of geared towards like the Republican, because I mean they're looking at elections that they can see. Okay, we have a good chance of winning here, so we're going to go in there and get someone that's more liberty minded. Yeah, that's fine. Now, I'm sure if there's a Libertarian Party candidate they feel is really good, then they'll probably support that person, right? So
yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
yeah. So kind of on a side note, I saw some people, they were criticizing the Young Americans for Liberty specifically because of what I just said. Because they said, they're only supporting people they know will win. What's the problem there?
It's like, we want to ensure that liberty-minded people will get into power. Yeah.
It's like, would you rather want someone who wants? Well, actually, maybe you do want more lockdowns, because I saw Tom Woods tweet out something harmless talking about how Bugs Bunny is like the worst cartoon character of all time, and some dumb fuck was like, over 250,000 people have died. What has anything to do with what he just tweeted? Maybe if you tweeted about COVID, okay, I get it, but it was about Bugs Bunny. What?
The loser brigade is undefeated when it comes to getting owned. Yeah, they're so bad. But yeah, that's what Dave was actually talking about, was that guy, whatever his name is, Flower.
Yeah.
Where he's like, because I guess Dave said normal people are getting locked in their homes.
Man, do you see that? Like he circled normal, and then he put a line. He's a goy. It's like, man, you must have some like really good. I don't know. You must have some really good leaps of faith or something. I don't know.
It was like a real life version of the Charlie Day It's Always Sunny, like pointing at the signs and the dots.
How when he said normal people, he was talking shit about indigenous people. He was talking about normal people like us,
like everyone. Yeah. We're
included. You aren't. Where do you live, Vermont? You're probably not able to do a whole lot, because as far as I know, Vermont isn't very friendly to the liberty-minded people. As far as I know, I don't know, but
no, it's not.
Like, you live in a state that, come on. Like, okay, if you live in South Dakota, I guess I can understand that, because you have a more of a friendly governor in terms of the lockdowns. There have been some other things with that governor that I'm kind of like, I don't know. Did you hear about her where she she
vetoed the cannabis or whatever?
Yeah. I was like, okay, lady. But when it comes to the COVID stuff, she's great. You know, like I'm 100% for her, and at least for that issue. But yeah, if you lived in somewhere like South Dakota, okay, I can maybe somewhat kind of a little bit get where you're coming from, dude. But you live in a state that's, I don't know, not very friendly to people going out and doing business or whatever, you know. So
it's the state that continuously reelects Bernie Sanders, for God's sakes. Like, yeah, it's a disaster of a state, and I don't understand the loser brigade at all. Their obsession with identity politics and race issues, I think, will be the downfall of the LP if they continue on this trajectory. It's like, yes, it is the modern topic. It is the topic du jour. But in terms of like the actual future of freedom in this country, if you're going to focus on separating us based off of our skin tones, we're doomed. That's not what libertarianism is about. It's about freedom for all, the individual rights. It's not about your color and your history of oppression. It's about what we can do moving forward. And I just pray to God that these people are expelled from the party so we can actually do what needs to be done.
Yeah, and it's like I was saying before, you're trying to weave your way into the Libertarian Party, and they're, at least some people are welcoming you with open arms. But then there's other people, like the Mises Caucus, and I'm sure even the Radical Caucus are like, I don't like this. Mm-hmm. So again, when you're talking about identity politics and race and all that, like, who are you talking to? I'm just going to go back to what I was saying before. Like, you're talking to. You're talking to this person who has like a mohawk and like it's like blue and everything like that, and they have nose rings and all these, all this stuff, and they identify as like they, them, or something like that. Like, what are you talking to?
They're voting for Bernie Sanders. Let's be honest.
They're voting for Bernie Sanders, or they're voting for Jill Stein or something like that. They ain't voting for Joe Jorgensen.
No,
they're
not. Definitely not.
I don't understand the whole, and maybe someone should let me know, who is more in that group, to let me know, oh, this is what we think the Libertarian Party should be, their vision, right? Okay, so what if the Mises Caucus does take over the Libertarian Party? Then guess what? You're now in the minority.
Yep.
And I don't know. The whole thing is just stupid, because Yeah, that's why sometimes I'm just like, maybe we should just abolish it, like Theo says from California government. Just abolish the fucking party. Gives a shit.
Yeah, well, it sometimes I feel that way too, for sure. But ultimately, what I find interesting is that like Maj Touré, Eric July, Latinos for Liberty, a whole bunch of guys that I know that are libertarian. They want nothing to do with the identity politics path when it comes to the LP. They are as adamant, if not more so, than I am against identity politics being the ruling factor when it comes to the libertarian movement, because they have already identified what you and I have, that it's about individual rights. It's not about your skin color. Right. And like if your outreach is about reaching minorities, you're already failing. The minorities that want to be involved in the LP want to do so because it's not about their skin color. Yeah. If you don't get that, fuck you. Like I don't have any patience for these people anymore. Like there are like it's so condescending, it's so parental to think that minorities will only want to be part of your group if you focus on their skin. Like that's not what they're about. These people are interested in freedom. Period. That's the people we should be going after. And you're scaring them off with your dumb bullshit. So please stop. That's my message today. Please stop. Please stop doing what you're doing.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard work, because if 2020 has kind of shown us is that it really looks like safety is winning. When it comes to who wants safety and who wants liberty, safety is winning by a landslide right now.
Yeah, it's not even close. It's crazy.
And you know, it's so weird to see people complaining about people, you know, that whole want to get a haircut or want to get breakfast at a restaurant or something like that. But you got to wear that mask
forever.
You got to wear that mask, motherfucker.
Forever.
Oh, God.
And if you're unwilling, we'll just lock you in your house forever and we'll close businesses eternally.
And another thing too, and this is the thing about it too, but the mask thing is that I do wear a mask. Like I'm not gonna pussyfoot and say I don't, like, you know, and be like, oh, I don't wear a mask. No, I do wear one. So you can call me a pussy or whatever. I don't give a shit. But I do wear one. I know Nico wears one. But for sure, like I'm not gonna complain with Nico Nico wearing one, because you know she's, you know,
trying to have a baby.
Yeah, we're, you know, fertility and all that stuff that we've been talking about. And I don't know, like I don't want to risk any of that. So I get that. Like, and it's like what a lot of people have been saying, and I'm sure you would agree, the people who are most susceptible, the elderly, Andrew Cuomo, they would know, okay, maybe we should take care of these people because their immune systems aren't that strong. Man, this takes like a smart ass person to think about this. Wow, I'm so smart. It's a really healthy person is going to be like, look at that other person who's like 85 years old and be like, I think we should take care of that person right there. Not like, you know, kill him or anything, but
but that's how Cuomo handled it.
Right, exactly. Take care. Oh, like not that could take care. What are you, stupid? Yes, apparently you are. But yeah, you know, take care of them. Like give them the you know the help that they need in terms of what's going on. Even if the virus isn't 100% going to kill everyone, you got to do something to help those people, because you know they have families that love them and all that.
Yeah,
and yet it's like, because I'm sure you see the numbers too, where you see at least as far as I know, most of the people that have died have been pretty old people.
Oh yeah, 70 plus, 80 plus, yeah.
So why aren't we trying to push our focus on that, on those people, instead of the 30-year-olds with, you know, the fit, active person who works out twice a day? We should have them wear a mask, and you know, gyms are only open 11 to 7.
Gyms are closed here, but yeah, so, I get you.
Yeah, or yeah, something like that. Where okay, so you want from 11 to 7, you want a whole jam-packed people in a smaller window of time instead of it being, you know, like 24 hours a day. Wow, man, this makes a lot of sense.
Literally every single step they took was counterproductive. Like the intelligent path, and I mean this at my core, the intelligent path was to allow the healthy young people to go out and risk it and get herd immunity for those that are actually vulnerable. That was the path that Sweden took. It was clearly the best path to take. You know, I wore a mask in the first month. Now I only wear one where a business absolutely mandates it and where I absolutely have to go in. Yeah. But otherwise, like they tried to pass mask mandates for the beach and for outdoors. I'm ready to go to jail for it. I'm not going to wear one while I'm outside. That, like, the science says definitively it's unnecessary. I'm not going to do it. So if you want to fine me, fine. I'll tear it up in front of a judge. I am going to jail before I pay that fucking fine. And I think that was the answer all along, was that, just like you were saying, young people who are in good health should have been living normally. Those that are in serious jeopardy should have been taking every precaution necessary. And had we done that, I think we would already be done with this shit. So it's just insulting and irritating that even after all of the evidence has kind of proven out that those that sided with freedom from the jump were right, it's still the tyranny path that we're offered. Like, and if you refuse, you don't believe in science. I mean, I just don't know how that works, but it does.
So in terms of the swimming and having to wear a mask at the beach.
Oh yeah.
Here's a free market idea. Make a mask that's waterproof, and now you can swim with the mask on. In the water.
Yeah, that'd be helpful, because everyone's breathing underwater.
Yeah. So there you go. Just make something like that. I don't know, because apparently that's a thing now or something. I don't know. But anyway.
My mom actually went to an anti-curfew lockdown last night, because we now have a curfew here on top of everything else, where you can't be outside past 10. I mean, it's
that Gavin Newsom loves you, doesn't he?
Oh, he does, and I love him too. I love him like a prison cellmate. Yeah, it's bad, man. I haven't talked to her yet to see if she's in jail, but she was ready to get arrested for it. I really love and respect anybody who's willing to, walk the walk when it comes to this stuff, because ultimately, I don't think this ends until enough of us stand up. And if that requires us to be put in jail temporarily, I'm ready. So I hope more people out there are willing to start to demand their freedoms back. I really don't think it's going to come back voluntarily. So I hope that some people are nearing the limits of what they can accept.
Yeah, I remember back to blue, but also come and take it. So
yes, exactly.
That whole thing makes sense. All right, so we'll go ahead and end it there. Cool. This has been awesome. Talk about the craziness that's been going on. It just seems like every single day there's something new happening with the COVID and everything like that. So
I hope the next time you have me on, we can laugh about how crazy 2020 was and how much better 2021 is. I don't think that's what is going to happen. I think we're going to have plenty more craziness to talk about, but I'll keep my fingers crossed.
We'll have you on for Inauguration Day. No, I'm kidding.
When both Trump and Biden get separate inaugurations.
Oh, man, go by with the quote unquote official inauguration, and then Trump. No, I'm the real president. I will have my inauguration at Trump Tower. All right.
I honestly hope it happens, but we'll see.
That would be hilarious. So yeah, you want to go ahead and plug everything that you got and let people know where you're at?
Yeah, I'm pretty simple. At Liberty Lock Pod on Twitter, and Liberty Lockdown Podcast, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, all that stuff. So give me a follow, and thank you so much for having me on. Wish Nico my best, and I'll catch you guys next time.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching and listening, and we'll see you in the next one.